In Level 2 we will be studying circles, and we will be looking at the equation of a circle in standard form. This is the equation of a circle in standard form where the numbers for h and k are the center of the circle, and r is the radius. So looking at this first example, we have the equation of a circle in standard form, and we need to find the center. So the coordinates of the center come from the h and the k. But notice that this formula has minuses in it, x minus h, y minus k. So if we have an x minus 2, the coordinate of the center is actually positive 2. And then if we have a positive number, y plus 3, that's like y minus negative 3. So the coordinates of the center, the y coordinate of the center, is going to be negative 3. So what you're going to do whenever you're finding the coordinates of the center, the quick trick is to just take the number inside parentheses. If it's negative 2, change it to its opposite, which is positive. If you have a positive number, change it to its opposite, which is negative. So both the x and y coordinate are going to be the opposite of those two numbers. Okay. And then the radius we find using this last number, but remember that that represents the radius squared. So if the radius squared is 16, how do we find the radius? We would square root both sides. And the square root of 16 is 4. Now normally when we square root both sides of an equation, we put a plus or minus because it could be positive 4 or negative 4. But with an actual length in a circle in a geometry setting like this, the negative 4 wouldn't make sense because the radius has to be positive. So the radius is 4, and then the diameter is always twice as long as the radius. So if I multiply 4 by 2, I get 8 for the diameter. And then to plot the points on this graph, I first plot the center, which is the point 2, negative 3, over to the right 2 and down 3. And then from there, I use my radius length, which is 4, and I go up 4 units. From the center, I go to the left 4 units. From the center, I go down 4 units. And I go to the right 4 units from the center. And I get 4 points on that circle, and then I draw a circle passing through those 4 points. And there's my circle. In this next example, we're given the center and radius of a circle, and we have to write the equation. Remember that the equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So I replace h with the x coordinate of the center. So x minus negative 4 squared plus, and then I replace k with the y coordinate from the center, so y minus 0 quantity squared equals, and then I replace r with 6, and I have to square that. So I'm going to simplify a little bit. X minus negative 4 is x plus 4 squared. I don't need to write y minus 0. I can just write, that's just y, or y squared. And then 6 squared is 36, and that would be the equation of the circle. And one last example. In this example, we are supposed to determine the area and circumference of this circle. To find the area and circumference of a circle, all I need to know is the radius. I don't really need to know the center this time. The area of a circle is pi r squared, and the circumference is 2 pi r. So as long as I know the radius, I can find both of those. And so, looking at my equation, this 40 represents the radius squared. And if I want to find the radius, I do the square root. So the radius is going to be the square root of 40. And I want to simplify that, so I do my factor tree for 40, and that's 4 times 10, which is 2 times 2, and 2 times 5. So I have a pair of 2's. I leave a 2 and a 5 inside. I get 2 radical 10. So the radius is 2 radical 10. Now, to find the area of this circle, pi r squared, I already knew r squared was 40. So this is just going to be 40 pi. And then for the circumference, I'm going to plug the radius that I found, 2 radical 10, in for r. So we get 2 pi times 2 radical 10. And I can multiply my regular number parts together. I get circumference equals 4 pi radical 10. Or you could say 4 radical 10 pi. Either of those would be fine.